was significant about Creepshow, one was it fulfilled my desire to get away from gore and create some monsters and characters, you know. Nate's corpse, Fluffy, the first animatronic creature I've ever done. You know, that's what that fulfilled. And I mean, there was gore, of course, in Creepshow. But I got to get away from the gore and do some character stuff, some creatures and monsters, you know. All of a sudden, Ed French is doing Creepshow too, and Greg Nicotero and Mike Tursick, you know, and they asked me to do to play the creep, you know, knowing how much I love to wear makeup, you know. In fact, as soon as we were done, I insisted that there was a shower there on location and not wait for a ride in the van an hour back. I didn't want to be sticky for another hour. So I did a shower and they removed the makeup right then and there because I hate wearing this stuff, as you know. But I also got to do the bullet hits on Tom Wright, the hitchhiker. I did the head hits on him. They cast my head. In fact, my daughter Leah was a year old, not more than that. And I made sure that we shaved my facial hair in front of her so she would still know who I am after the face cast. Yeah, so I think they did my face cast in Arizona. I'm not quite sure. They went to Arizona for warm weather. It was freezing. They were in that lake freezing. That big garbage bag that was the blob, they had to, Tasso, my friend Tasso, and my wife, Nancy, trained, got certified as scuba divers to control the underwater movement of the blob, you know. And it was freezing. You know, it was a breakdown makeup, the nose, the chin, the headpiece, it was all separate, you know. And I think I had goofy hands and fingers, you know, yeah. But I turned into a cartoon character. You know, you see me in the back of the truck, and then as soon as I leap, it's Rick Catazone's animated creep coming down. The only other shot I did, the ending of the movie, was standing in the back of that delivery truck and throwing out. Now, was it Bundles? No, Bundles was when we were stopped dead. But as I drove away, 3 miles down the highway, I was throwing out the Creepshow magazine, yeah. And we did it over and over again. And we had to keep driving until we were like, you know, little cartoon figures and, you know, on the horizon.
I've never seen anyone so impatient, Billy, as if your life depended on getting the first copy off the presses.
I had to lip sync a recorded track, you know, and it had to be exactly what I was hearing, you know, and then acting what I was trying to, you know, lip sync to. So that was kind of tough, you know, and you know, I forgot that I'm suffering because it's constantly sticky. That makeup is, you know, every time you move, you can feel the stickiness of it, which is why I wanted it removed instantly, you know. But yeah, that was tough. And Gornick, he just did like a couple of takes, I remember, because I got the lip sync. You know, I was listening to it in the hotel and stuff, you know, so I got it down pretty packed, yeah. Mike Gornick as a director was something that I was used to, because on the sets with George, I mean, Mike wasn't directing, but Mike, if the shot wasn't right, Mike would come in and say, you know, did this, or Tom, could you know, he was like directing the composition. George was directing the movie, but Mike was directing the composition. So I was used to hearing Mike tell me what to do and then doing it. So it was no different on Creepshow too, you know. I like Mike, we get along terrific. I love his voice, he's got this great deep voice. And he knew exactly what he wanted, you know, and I think he got it. Creepshow 2 was, New World Pictures picked it up. And coincidentally, I wound up getting a 3-picture deal with New World before they kind of went belly up. I could turn down 2, but I would have to do the third. The third one was Graveyard Shift, Stephen King's Graveyard Shift. When you make a contract, make sure it's pay or play. Pay or play, which means if it doesn't happen, they still have to pay you. And that's what happened. I was out for the premiere of Night of the Living Dead in LA, and I realized my contract with New World stated that I could do other projects, but it would add the time that it took to do that project to my 1 year contract. So at the premiere of Night of the Living Dead at the Chinese Theater, I realized, whoa, 18 months have gone by. They need to pay me. And I went to the office, it was Frank Capra Jr. I thought, well, this is going to be the first day of litigation, of trying to get my money. Wrote me a check. Paid me for directing a whole movie that I never directed. Pay or play. Pay or play. Some of my fondest memories of Creepshow 2, of course, hanging out with Everett and Greg and Howard and Mike Tursick, and I was interested in the effects, of course. I'm in effects mode, The Blob bothered me. I never bought the Blob. But the Wooden Indian, that was Mike Tursick's thing. That just blew me away. One day I got there and the Indian was standing there, and all of a sudden he started moving. Jesus. Now that was one of the highlights, the Wooden Indian. Story-wise, I'm not, I came from Creepshow 1, so it just wasn't Creepshow 1, but I enjoyed it. Did I ever hear anybody say, "Oh, I enjoyed you in Creepshow 2"? I don't think they knew it was me, under all that makeup. I used to have photos that I, had sold at conventions of me as the creep. It was Creepshow 2. My friends were working on it, Hey, do you want to play this part? Oh, and they paid me a lot of money. Yeah.